Hello everyone, I'm silentdeth, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Space Engineers, episode 22. Today we're going to be doing some more work on our base. We're almost finished with the main base here. In addition to what we're going to be doing today, which is working on the Command and Information Center, the CIC igloo, which we'll be calling the Bigloo. We have one more thing to do after that, which is work on a launch pad, landing pad area for our space program. But that will not be this episode. After that, we should be pretty much done with this base. Maybe we'll want to add some defenses at some point. But we're almost done. There's been a patch recently. And if you're like most people, you eagerly downloaded it, loaded up your world, went and looked around, and went, what the frack? Because Keen apparently has decided that windows are not for seeing through. Thankfully, the windows that we use in this world are almost entirely these frameless windows, and they have not suffered from the desecration that has happened to the vanilla windows. You can still actually see through these. In other news, we've been mining a whole crap ton with our BAM, our big ass miner. Let's fly over here to the strip mine. I've gotten I don't know how many million tons of ice, a bunch of stone which we dumped most of, and a bit over 8 million iron from what we've gotten so far, which is this is a strip mine. So we've almost completely mined out this little part. It's kind of huge indeed. Let's take a look at it from spectator mode. Give you a sense of scale. That is a really big pit. It really is. I am, however, loving my little BAM, or my big BAM. I guess there's not a little big ass miner, is there? It's a big ass miner. It did take quite a long time to mine all that. Most of it was getting rid of the stone because we don't have that many connectors for the rate we're mining. Also, there's the obvious issues, the continuing issues with mining in Space Engineers, where the game will crash, the game will run out of memory, the game will just do all the kind of crappy things that it tends to do. But still, 8 million iron. That's a lot. We're still refining it all in our single iron refinery. We'll probably want to upgrade to that this episode too. Maybe flush out our assembler igloo, and our refinery igloo. We've stocked this little fellow here chock full of iron plates. Inventory. About 11,200 change. Mini iron plates. This is just barely what it can lift. Oh, almost. Come on, you can do it. See, that is right at limits of what this little fella can lift. So we need to do some welding. But with our 8 million iron, we should be done with mining just about on this world. Or well, for a while, until we get up into space, I hope. I've went and mined some silver, some gold, basically everything but magnesium. I guess I'll need a little bit more of that for combat. Oh. But yes, I still think that right there saved us a lot of time in the long run. Quite useful. Possibly the best thing since sliced bread, which is quite a compliment. Have you ever tried to slice bread? The pieces get all crooked, which means that whenever you bite down into a sandwich, the tomatoes and everything just go flying out the other end. There's frequently big giant air bubbles right in the middle of the slice, so that your mayonnaise or peanut butter or whatever tries to escape is just a complete disaster. Call up the National Guard. Alert FEMA. Get the president to declare a state of emergency. Hell, even get the CDC on the horn, because I think there's some wheat germ involved. Disaster. Which is why I tend to make French toast with the bread that I make. If your French toast happens to be unevenly sliced, that just tells you which end to pour the syrup on. You have a nice little syrup distribution ramp. If there's a hole, now you have a syrup reservoir. I don't want to have to chase the syrup all over the plate to get that last little bit. That and tortillas. French bread and tortillas. Actually, mostly gordillas, as I prefer the kind of thicker stuff. Interesting note, the secret ingredient to gordillas is potatoes. It is potato flour. That is how you make a gordito. In fact, I bet that is how flatbread came to be invented. Some guy was just trying to make a sandwich, slicing his own bread, got frustrated with it and just went, screw this, mushed it down with his hand and wrapped it around his sandwich meat. Because if Muhammad will not go to the mountain can damn well wrap its soft floury self around the filling of your choice. In other news, I picked up Elite Dangerous during the, lunar something sale. A lot of reviews for that game are not very favorable. I guess it kind of depends on what you're looking for in a game. Me, I just wanted something where I could fly around and blow shit up. That was the kind of mood I was in when I bought it. And, I checked the game out. Can I fly around? Yes. Can I blow shit up? Yes. Can I get paid for it? Yes. Sold. So yep, I picked that up during the sale, and I've been playing it a bit lately. Having a fair amount of fun, flying around blowing shit up. Profitable adventures. Doing occasional assassination missions and stuff. And a little glitch in this game. I did, however, get one assassination mission. I'm like at the second rank in the combat difficulty. And they sent me out up to kill a Corvette. A Corvette is something like a multi-million-dollar ship. It probably costs more to buy the ammo for it than my ship cost. And they want me to kill it. And it wasn't even alone, it had friends. So I went and I snuck up behind it. I was like, okay, I'll just target its power plant, take out its power, and then peck away at it until it's dead. Seems like a good idea. Or at least it did. So I did that. I snuck up right behind it. Really like point blank range. Hopefully so that it couldn't shoot back at me. That I'd be in kind of a blind spot. And then full power to weapons. And then I just unloaded on it. I'm getting heat warnings. My console is sparking because I'm overheating. I'm draining the capacitor. I've run out of ammo on all my guns. They click dry. And I've maybe taken off 5% of its shields. It turns around and goes, "Oh look, you're so cute. What a nice effort." And then proceeds to fire 4 plasma accelerators, which blow right through my shields and 80% of my hull. At which point I say, "Oh, my bad. I thought you were someone else." What I really wanted to do was show you my afterburners, and I ran the hell away. After which, I wrote a very strongly worded letter to the Bounty Hunters Association. Covering things like the definition of harmless, and how no one is mostly harmless if they're flying around in a goddamn Corvette. And I may have made some allusions to the agent's ancestry, along with sending them a bill for my repairs. Then this nice lady came along and told me she would give me a really big gun if I would blow some shit up in her name. She really knows how to charm someone, doesn't she? I naturally agreed, and I've been blowing shit up for her ever since, which is mildly entertaining. It at least has been scratching that itch, because you know the combat in Space Engineers is a little bit lacking. And I'm glad I could kind of get that itch scratched with the game that was not very expensive. It was like $15 on sale. So if you haven't played that and you just want to fly around and blow shit up, I can in fact recommend that game, despite what all the reviews say. It's not got a story or anything. If you're looking for some in-depth experience, look elsewhere. But if you just want to fly around and blow shit up, it is very, very pretty. And you can do that in high resolution, with nice sound effects, decent music, and quite good controls, in fact. Another thing I wanted to talk about today is last time I talked about whether we're going to be doing our space program or our combat program, whether we're going to be doing that next. And after a bit of thought and some feedback, I've decided that we're going to be starting on the space program simply because it will take longer to finish. I'm not sure which one we're going to be finishing first yet. Possibly we will be doing combat first. It just depends on what takes the longest to finish. But coming up with the space program is, of course, going to be, I guess, what we can call our space shuttle. And that brings us to an interesting dilemma. Well, a dilemma. I don't know if it's an interesting dilemma. We have a dilemma. And that is, it is going to be the first vessel that we have that we can kind of get up and walk around inside of. That is the current plan for our shuttle. And on many Let's Plays that I've seen, when you start building big ships, that pretty much kills the episodes. They get really tedious and boring. Or they just stops being episodes except for like once every month or something. Because building big ships is really difficult in Space Engineers. It takes a lot of time. And if I just do that and then show you the finished product, it's, a few weeks between episodes. If instead I try to show you the whole thing, well, then you have half a dozen episodes of me just placing blocks. Neither of those are really good approach in Let's Plays that I've seen. They just don't work very well. So I'm trying to come up with a few ideas for how to do that, and how to still have interesting episodes, interesting frequent episodes. Because that is important, to actually produce content for everyone to watch. Not just to produce good content, but to produce frequent content. So one of the ideas I had was kind of tacked in or tucked in the episodes will either will have a segment, intermission, or maybe something at the beginning or end, where we work on a piece of our shuttle or whatever large ship we happen to be working on at the time. In that way, I can be building the ship and still be producing content for you, though it won't be too boring for you because it's shooting for a 5 to 10 minute segment. And we'll just focus on something like, I don't know, the engines or something like that. And that way, you'll actually get to see the ship come together, so it's still a proper Let's Play and not just a showcase. I guess that's why people tend to do showcases of other people's work, and I don't feel that's ethical for me to make money off something somebody else spent hundreds of hours for, at least not without their permission. So I would prefer to stick to showing just my own designs. And I think we might actually do that right now. So why don't we put in a little segment here to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. And I'll be back once I've finished this welding. Here we are in a creative world, and we're going to be working on what I guess we could call our space shuttle right now. Today, all I want to get accomplished is a basic outline of the shape. I have a vague idea of what I want it to look like, and I need to get an idea of the dimensions and the relative proportions to the different pieces and things like that. Over here, we have the area, the platform that we're going to be building on. I like to build it in pieces and then kind of assemble the pieces into a main. That way I kind of have sort of backups. If I change my mind and want to revert to earlier versions, I'll have a copy of it laying around somewhere. I think I'm going to paint this black and then use white blocks so that it'll show up better for y'all. Again, we're just trying to get an outline, so it's not going to be very, I don't know, much to see. Well, it'll be something to see, but it won't be the final design. It's going to change. Just kind of getting a vague notion of how things are going to fit together. So let's get started. Well, that is all we're going to get done today. Mostly because I'm out of disk space. Didn't get as much done as I would like. And copy and pasting things together does not quite seem to work on a dedicated server. So we may have to try something off camera and do a little bit of work that way. But that is going to be it for this segment. We'll go back to our survival world now. And that is what I mean by working on our big ship a little bit of it at a time. Please let me know how you feel about those segments. I'll try to fix the jittering, try to do something about that for future segments. If you have some better ideas, or if you don't like it, or if you do like it, or whatever, just let me know in the comments. I do want to try to show you the ships coming together, but I don't want to bore you. This is our Bigloo, which lives up to its name. We aren't going to get to the interior today. This is pretty much all we're going to do today. I've spent the past 40 or 50 hours mining. Getting all that iron took a very, very long time. I've gone through another 4 or 5 seasons of a Stargate SG-1 while mining. So this is why we're just going to get to this today. I would like to do more, I just don't have the time. And I want to get an episode out for you because it's been a little bit. Next episode, we will get to the interior. We're going to be kind of trying to decorate the whole interior of our base, getting a little bit of color on the inside. I want to keep the outside kind of like it is, sort of pseudo camo igloo type color, but I think we can do a little bit with the floor coloring and stuff. And we'll add in all the programming blocks, the LCDs, war room, all the stuff that we can have command and information and things of that nature. It's going to be pretty neat. You might even say it's going to be neater than beans. Like if you like, subscribe if you're not, leave a comment if you have anything to say. I do read all the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.